Hello everyone, hope everybody's doing great today. My name is Jessica Floyd and I'm here to talk to you all about Kahoot. But before we get into what that is and how to use it, I want to give you some background about me. I am 27 years old and I'm currently a student at Azusa Pacific University. I am in my last courses and will be graduating with my Master's of Arts in Education, Learning and Technology. I am beyond excited to be done with my time in college, but I know the learning is not yet over for me. I am hoping to be an elementary school teacher, and with being a teacher comes with being a lifelong learner. Though my formal education will be over, I will always strive to learn new techniques and tools to use in the classroom. I am also currently a substitute teacher for Corona Norco Unified School District. I sub for all grades. I've been in a lot of different classrooms and have heard from students about what they like and dislike about school. One common complaint students seem to have is that they find school to be boring. I know at their age we often felt the same way. I remember having some teachers who would just give us worksheets to fill out or a movie to watch, then we would take a test. I remember always counting down the minutes till it was time for me to go home. Students need to be engaged in their learning and excited to learn. Now this is why I'm here today. Kahoot. Say it with me, Kahoot. It is a way for us to engage our students in their learning and make it more fun and interactive. What is Kahoot? Some of you guys might be asking yourself. Well, Kahoot is a free game-based learning platform. It is an extremely useful educational technology tool that requires little technical expertise for creating quiz, surveys, and discussions. It could be used for learners of all ages and for all subjects. Currently, this platform offers 41 languages to create exciting and engaging learning experiences. Since it's first been launched in 2013, it is now played by millions of people in 100 different countries. It can be played using mobile devices, desktops, or laptops with an internet connection. Kahoot is used to review student knowledge, often used for formative assessment, or a way to break from traditional classroom activities. Kahoot can also be played for fun, such like trivia games, which is really helpful on rainy days. We all know how crazy the kids can get in the classroom and they drive us bonkers. Well, instead of getting frustrated with them, we can turn on Kahoot and have the kids learn and also have fun. Kahoot is designed for social learning. When using Kahoot, learners will be gathered around a common screen. In the classroom, this common screen would be like an interactive whiteboard, projector, or a computer monitor. The site can also be used through screen sharing tools such as Skype or Google Hangouts. So now we know what Kahoot is, we want to know how do we use it. So the quiz is usually created by the educator or trainer for the students. The questions are displayed on the teacher's screen and the students have to reply using their devices. Once logged into Kahoot, the teacher has access to thousands of public Kahoots already prepared by other individuals, teachers, and professionals. Or they can even choose to make their own quiz or game. The teacher has to project the Kahoot in the classroom so all the learners can see the questions and the responses. Students do not need to register or use their email address to participate. When the quiz is launched, a game pin appears on the screen. Using their devices, students can log into Kahoots using the game pen or their nicknames. And their nicknames. For a class quiz, students can use their roll numbers or their names or their nicknames. It is a teacher-led quiz. Teachers can use pictures or YouTube videos to make it more interesting. Quiz questions have displayed on the teacher's screen and students use their devices to key in the answers. The names and the marks of the top 5 participants are displayed at the end of each question. This creates a motivating and competitive environment. The results are not only based on correct responses, but also on the time it takes for each student to answer the question. This leads to higher levels of competitiveness, motivation, and engagement. At the end of the quiz, it generates a report with details about the report. Spreadsheets can be downloaded and then used as an analyst tool for teachers. It helps teachers to analyze students' level of understanding of the topic under discussion and provides an insight about the topics to reteach. The teacher can also share the results with students using Google Drive or social media. So some other ways to use Kahoot. So it's obviously an alternative to boring quizzes. So instead of using the typical pen and paper quiz, you can use Kahoot. It allows you to see the students' responses And in order to make it more exciting, you can also give the students some small prizes to the winners. And we all know students love prizes. You can also use Kahoot to share knowledge or on a topic or a subject. Instead of providing new information by just lecturing, begin the lesson with a Kahoot and then discuss each question and what they will learn in the lesson. You can also use it to start a discussion. A quick Kahoot discussion question on the screen can help get attention of everybody in the class. Exploring and discussing the correct and incorrect options. Once the quiz is over, it can lead to a deeper level of understanding. You can also use it to prepare and evaluate surveys. So you can make surveys for parents and for the students. I love the idea to giving surveys to the parents. This way that the parents can respond, and you can also see, like, you can ask the parents, let's say, like, open house. How many of you guys have a computer at your house that the students can use? How many of you guys are able to help with the students on their homework every single night? This gives you more of a background and understanding of what the kids are going home to in their home environment. This means that you can then tailor your teaching and your homework needs for these students and their families. You can also use Kahoots to reinforce the taught concepts. Kahoot can be used at the end of the lesson, kind of recapping and just checking to make sure the students are really understanding what they learned. This is also learning through repetition. There's a ghost mode in Kahoot that allows students to play the same quiz multiple times. It can be helpful in reinforcing learning through repetition. Another way you can use Kahoot is, instead of the teacher creating the quiz, you let the students create a quiz. This gets students to research content and build up their knowledge about it. They get to create their own quizzes. This also gives them empowerment to become leaders of their own learning and also assist the teacher. The teacher can assist student understanding of the topic based on the content used for preparing Kahoot quiz and explanations given for correct answers. So together, the teachers and the students can work together to create a quiz. This gives everybody the sense of responsibility for their learning, and it also makes it more fun. You can also use Kahoot to add a little bit of extra competition in the class. The students, and it increases their knowledge, increases their want to learn. And we all know the students can get really, really competitive during games, and that's one way to make sure every single kid's participating. So the advantages of using Kahoots in the classroom: it adds fun and excitement to a boring lesson and increases the class participation. It helps the teacher understand the weak areas of the students, and also for the teachers to be able to help those students in their weak areas. It's a helpful self-evaluation tool. The students are able to evaluate their own understanding when they're in the ghost mode and also reinforce their learning. It could be an exciting tool for engaging students having short attention spans. In the TED Talk from Sir Ken Robinson, he talks about how a lot of students have ADHD, and this increase in ADHD has also gone up with standardized testing because the students aren't engaged in their learning. They're becoming bored. The students have every kind of technology and device around them, and it's really hard for them to really focus on learning when they find it boring. So if students always have a game device, why not make this game more involved in their learning and excite them? It's an interesting way to give students a break during a long lecture. It's also an extremely helpful tool to get a quick survey of students' feedback on any issues, and also can be an icebreaker for the first lesson. It's a great tool for designing instant polls. So how to use Kahoot, though, in a school with limited technology? So ideally, Kahoot would be effective in schools or colleges with bring your own device. But many schools don't allow mobile devices or computers or bring your own device because of security reasons. In a perfect world, every student would be able to bring their own device, and it would make it so much easier. But we don't live in a perfect world. So instead, some different kind of ways we can go around this is we can work with groups of students and provide them with maybe a few laptops if we only have so many, have them work in small groups instead. We can also use Kahoots for review games when we're all in the computer lab. And then, so those are just a couple ways to use Kahoots when we're limited technology. Some other Important points to consider when using Kahoots is avoid making the quiz with long duration. If the students are using their mobile phones, sometimes their phone starts to act a little funky and they start to have trouble. So it's always good to keep these Kahoots really like short, simple. Also, before deciding to use this tool in class, consider the user's devices. Does everybody have a smartphone, or are they old? Are they newer? Because if they have an old one that's not dated, it's not really going to work as well either. And Kahoot is suitable for questions of 95 characters or less. It can be used for multiple choice questions or true and false, but it's difficult to use for scenario-based questions. Though Kahoot does have a new feature called Jumble, to where the students are able to answer a question and put them like in order. So like sequence of events, they can put those all in order. What else? The largest known Kahoot game to take place was played on the internet by a YouTuber. So his views while streaming live on YouTube were about 5,000 to 10,000 total players. That just shows how big Kahoots is and how it brings people together and makes learning more interactive. The company that founded Kahoots founded on 3 basic principles: social, play, and learning. Their goal was to create a game-based platform that creates an emotional, playful, engaging, and social learning environment, and they did it. Instead of children looking to their devices or books, they're instead encouraged to play and connect to one another. Kahoots has been around since 2013 and is now expanded beyond the classroom. It is even played during business training, sporting, and cultural events. Kahoot is amazing, and it's a great way to really get our students active and excited to learn. Instead of the kids sitting there boring and acting out and having a hard time concentrating, this is a way to get their attention back. To also check to see how they're learning. Do they need more help on something else in such a quick and easy way? I feel as teachers we should all maybe look more into Kahoots, and then hopefully after watching this video, you guys will then think about using Kahoots in your classroom. It's just such a great way to excite the class and to make it a little bit more competitive. And that's it. Thank you for joining me today and listening to my TED Talk about Kahoots, and hope you guys will all use it soon. Thank you.